Hey, ScouterStan. One of the neat things about scouting is the Scout Oath and the Scout Law. The Scout Law was written a long time ago, and we, in the United States, we say 12 points to the Scout Law. How did that come to be? Baden-Powell, Lord Baden-Powell, Lord of Gilwell, Baden-Powell, wrote it back between the time when he was doing Brownsea Island, the experiment, the camping experiment with the 20 boys and the 4 patrols and all that, that was going on. And him writing a transcript that was going to be used for Scouting for Boys, which was a magazine that came out. In that time, he was actually put in a cottage near a windmill. It's quite amazing. I'll put a picture up here. That's where he wrote a lot of the stuff that was in Scouting for Boys, and his experiment for Brownsea Island. That being said, the Scout Law that he put together actually had 9 points. Didn't have 12 like we say in the United States. Now, other scouting groups throughout the world may have a different Scout Law. It really depends on where you are in the world. The very first 9 points: trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, and thrifty. Those are the 9 points that are at the very beginning. Those were all put down by Baden-Powell. This was around 1908 that he did this. And when he did this, he didn't write the individual words. He wrote paragraphs for each word so that it had more meaning, so that it was understood. Today, we just say the single words, and that has an enormous amount of meaning for each one of the words. Trustworthy, for instance, huge. So every one of them very important, but there was only 9. Now, later on in 1910, when scouting started really going in the United States, there was a scouter that was heavily involved with the formation of scouting. Ernest Thomas Seton was an individual that had a group of it was like the Boys Brigade it was back in England, but in the United States it was called Woodcraft Scouting. Okay, the Woodcraft Indians. That was their organization that he had. Now, he, in his Birchback Rolls, which was like their book at the time, had 12 points to live by. Now, you have to keep in mind that Seton, this was 1910, okay? We today would look upon his 12 rules with suspect, because it's written in the mindset of 1910, okay? So whenever you're looking back in history, you have to think in that mindset. You can't put your PC filters on and see it, because some of it is, by today's standards, would be considered quite unusual, okay? His rules, and I'm going to check my notes. I have them posted right over here, okay? Obedience was first. Then you had courage, cleanliness, no smoking. 1910, okay, it was a long time ago. No firewater, okay, all right, no firewater. The 6th one was wildlife, okay, which meant take care of it or respect it. Then there was no wildfires, and that wasn't have anything to do with flame. It was a metaphor, One of the things he put in there: don't kindle a wildfire, like a scandal or a story. Okay, no wildfires. Kindness. Okay, I think that's in the current day Scout Law. Another one was play fair. Okay, that was a big thing. Number 10 was silence. Okay, that might be a good one to add. Okay, but that was part of the Woodcraft Indians laws. The final 2 were reverence and word of honor. So those were kind of the 12 points. At around this time, Seton's Woodcraft Indian Laws, the second one was Courage. And that one was pretty good, but it was molded into Brave, which became the 10th point of the Scout Law. Then, of course, Cleanliness, which was number 3 in Seton's Woodcraft Indians, that was incorporated as number 11 in as Clean. Instead of Cleanliness, it became Clean. And then, of course, the very last one, Seton's big one was Reverence, became Reverent, number 12 in the Scout Law. So that's how these 12 points that we use in the Scout Law for the United States, the original 9, and then we added 3 more between Baden-Powell and Seton. Those two men putting together the first handbook was actually putting that, that was the very first one that they ever put together. In fact, I wrote down the number. I have a little cheat sheet here. Page 32 through 34. In the first edition of the 1910 Scout Handbook, the original 9, that's all that's in there. So if you have an opportunity to look that up on the internet, I'll try to put a link below. But that's out there. Check into that. It's fascinating when you look into some of this history. Knowing these things just gives you so much more enlightenment. And when you pass this on to your youth in your unit, they will get more out of it. And they will take the moment to really consider and think about what the Scout Law actually means. Very important. I know you do good work, so keep it up, okay? Scouting cannot continue without you. So please keep working hard for your youth so that your youth can go on and do all the great things for the future and live their lives and maybe even be a better life because of the Scout Law. Understanding that is critical. Thank you, and I will see you on the trail.